Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM. We are on a number of affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. In the Upper East region, we are on A1 Radio and Dreams FM in Bolgatanga. In the Central region, we are on Castle FM and ATL FM in Cape Coast. In the Volta region, we are live on Volta Premier Ho and Jubilee FM in Keta. We are live on X Spaces. We are on Facebook. We are on myjoyonline.com. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrol Sol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator. Where Duraplus goes, water always flows. This afternoon, Public Accounts Committee meeting to scrutinize Cocoa Road contracts and performance audit of Roads Ministry ends abruptly after the ministry's refusal to furnish the committee crucial documents.
Based on these reports, I requested for some documentation from the Ghana Highway Authority. My information is that those documents are not available. We can only consider this report if those documents are available.
I'll take you live to Parliament. Also is the Governor of Bank of Ghana standing by his alleged comments labeling NDC MPs as hooligans.
Those who know me and know my character, and you have not heard a single word of a recorded message with me describing parliamentarians in that manner.
We have details of that. Ghana faces economic and security complications following the abrupt curtailment of electricity exports to neighboring countries.
Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, other than solar, is totally dependent on power from Ghana. If you give Burkina Faso Sonabel zero, it means they are in darkness.
We'll also tell you how ECG's inability to pay for power purchase from Bui regularly threatens the authority's survival.
ECG is Bui's only off-taker. And when ECG is unable to pay, in fact, there have been months when Bui has had to take a bank overdraft to pay salaries.
Also this afternoon, potential health crisis hangs over Ghana as the Global Fund suspends shipment of essential medical supplies due to delays in clearing previous donations worth $40 million, which are still stuck at the Tema port.
The GRA was saying that the Parliament of Ghana failed to make some waivers. So it meant that Global Fund needed to pay for those levies. Government was asking for $3.6 million before the goods could be cleared.
We have sports.
The maiden edition of the All Regional Games is set for November as plans are on course to discover talents for Ghana.
Also this afternoon, High Court grants expedited hearing in case seeking to compel President Akufo-Addo to accept anti-LGBTQ bill for possible assent. And I'll take you to the Medina Highway for today's filth exhibition, where we find the median of roads used as transit points for waste collectors.
The rubbish is not from the Togo people, it's not from Burkina Faso, it's not from Cote d'Ivoire, it's from the Ghanaians. So we will talk. We are in the same problem.
Details of that and more here on the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu, and this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for your company. Let's dig in now in the much-anticipated hearing of the Public Accounts Committee to scrutinize Cocoa Road's contract as well as performance audit of the Ministry for Roads and Highways has ended abruptly after the Roads Ministry failed to supply some document. The minority in the last few months have been alleging grand corruption in the awarding of Cocoa Road contracts and have been demanding from Cocoa Board a fully audited report on these contracts. The Roads and Highway Ministry was also expected to answer questions on the sector. However, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Klute Aveji, says the hearing could not proceed without the submission of the crucial documents.
Based on these reports, I requested for some documentation from the Ghana Highway Authority. My information is that those documents are not available at the moment, and that you are working on them to provide those documents. And so we can only consider this report if those documents are available. When do you think you can make those documents available? Because you have explained to me the reasons why you were not able to make them available as requested. When do you think you can make them available so that we can schedule a new date for you?
Well, that's James Klucha, the GMP for K2 North and Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. Let me take you live there. Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kwekwa Sante joins us on the line. So, Kwekwa, which particular documents are these?
Well, the committee are a bit tight about the situation. They do not reveal the specifics, but we've known for the last few months that the Cocoa Board have been dilly-dallying in submitting, for instance, the audited report of all cocoa routes. The minority have raised that issue both in the Public Accounts Committee and outside of it on the floor of the Parliament as well. And Cocoa Board had given several assurances that those documents will be tendered in at the committee. As of now, I've been trying to dig some sources to try and see if that documents have reached the members. Some members claim they haven't gotten that and they have not gotten any information from their committee as well. But the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, for instance, who accompanied the officials of all these specific institutions to the committee, also did not give much in terms of what exactly they're going to do about this. But we understand the assurance is that within the next week or two, these documents that are described as crucial will now be submitted to the committee, and the committee can organize a special hearing to interrogate him.
So then one wonders what happens to the committee. Will they continue sitting, and how soon are they expecting these official documents from the ministry?
So the committee has been sitting for just yesterday and today as well to deal with certain important issues that have been referred to them. First, yesterday was the Bank of Ghana governor who has answered a number of questions, and we'll get into that pretty shortly. But when it came today, the big focus of the committee was to deal with matters on the cocoa routes and the root sector in general. And they have been hitting a snag today because the documents they intend to rely on to be able to ask questions on the Auditor General's report simply hasn't gotten to them. And they say they are unable to proceed to do any more work on that. And so we understand now that the committee will no longer sit up until May in terms of the public hearing here in Accra. But very soon, in the next week or two, they plan to travel to Tamale and then go to other regions to do what they call the regional hearings before they return to Parliament in May to present their reports when the House resumes.
That's my colleague here, Kwekwa Sante, is a Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent. Will stay a while longer at the Public Accounts Committee. You heard him talk about the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Enes Addison. Well, he has confirmed government is looking for a commercial bank to partner with for its Gold for Oil program. The program was expected to reduce the price of fuel at the pumps, but prices have been skyrocketing in the last few weeks. The program itself has been on the decline after the central bank pulled out of the deal. Governor Dr. Enes Addison says the Bank of Ghana pulled out to focus on its core mandate, and the government will partner a commercial bank to deliver the program.
It is a program that we recommend to continue because it helped us in a period of crisis. We only want to make sure that this is done by a commercial bank so that we can have time to focus on our operations as a central bank. So this is the discussions that we are holding going forward. But the ability to be able to exchange our natural resource directly for oil when oil prices get out of hands, we think that it's a very innovative program. So it's really about the central bank spreading itself too thin by trying to add gold for oil also into our business.
Well, the central bank governor also insists the economy is rebounding and the country's foreign exchange reserves, a key economic indicator, is also improving.
For the economy as a whole, I can tell you that things are improving. Our foreign exchange reserve levels are improving. Recently, the World Bank, thanks to the members of Parliament, approved a facility, so we have had $300 million added to our reserves. All of that, strengthens our position to support you in executing these types of projects. So rest assured that so long as the economy continues on the path that we are on, we should be able to help you deliver.
Meanwhile, Dr. Enes Addison has been denying reports he described NDC MPs as hooligans for demonstrating last year to demand his resignation from office. Listen.
Those who know me and know my character, and you have not heard a single word of a recorded message with me describing parliamentarians in that manner. This was some foreign journalist description of a conversation we had, and I disown it.
That's the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Adesing. Now, time is running out for the Ghana Cocoa Board as the European Union says its transition period for the implementation of the controversial traceability policy will elapse at the end of this year. This means that from the start of next year, Ghana's main cash crop, cocoa, cannot be exported into Europe unless evidence is provided that the Ghanaian cocoa is not sourced from recently deforested land or contributed to forest degradation. Currently, over 60% of cocoa produced in Ghana finds its way into the European market, but this will no longer be the business as usual. EU Commissioner for Environment, Oceans and Fisheries, Virginie Jus-Inkovic, explains more to Joy News' Blizzard Suga in the following report.
Cocoa is a major source of foreign exchange for the Republic of Ghana. However, the increasing demand for this cash crop over the years has resulted in the use of more deforested land to feed the supply chain. This situation has prompted the European Union to pass its traceability policy. According to this new regulation, any cocoa product entering the European market should not be sourced from recently deforested land or contribute to forest degradation. After 2 years of running what it terms a transition period, the EU says it is time for action and the need to enforce environmental sustainability.
So the discussions, they were ongoing for quite some time because we adopted legislation 2 years ago, and 2 years were given for a transition period. So now we're aiming to have the legislation running since the beginning of the next year.
The EU Commission is this week sending a high-level delegation led by its Commissioner for Environment, Oceans and Fisheries to Ghana, which is one of the world's largest producers of cocoa.
Because this legislation is applicable to all. It's not aiming at any country or any region in the world. It's applicable to EU member states, the same as the countries outside the EU. What it tackles is the commodities that do have the biggest impact as regards the deforestation around the globe. That our consumption pattern is one of the reasons that drives deforestation. So therefore, this step by the EU is taking responsibility for our consumption pattern and ensuring that the supply chains through which certain commodities reach the EU, that they are free of deforestation.
Let's focus on energy now. And Ghana could face economic and security complications following the curtailment of electricity exports to neighboring countries. Joy News is learning power to Burkina Faso was curtailed over the weekend with no sign of restoration. Well, this, according to sources, is part of measures adopted by government to address the erratic power supply in the country. Chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, Samuel Atachia, first hinted in an interview with Joy News.
So I think the president's on top of the issues. I'm even been educated that there is a command that our export of electricity to other countries will be curtailed. Okay. Because the president has an acute sense of the national need than making profit abroad.
So this directive would have gone to VRA, because VRA has contractual arrangements with the neighboring countries to sell power to them.
Yes.
So that is being curtailed as we speak based on the present directive.
Yes.
Well, former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor says the curtailment, if not stopped, will have dire consequences for power supply in the country in the future and the survival of the Volta River Authority and Gridco.
There was load shedding yesterday, except that the burden of the load shedding was put on our neighboring countries. At a point, we were exporting zero to one of our neighboring countries. And it has such dangerous implications for the welfare of the energy sector and even for Ghanaians as a people. For example, Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, other than solar, is totally dependent on power from Ghana.
100%.
100%. If you give Burkina Faso Sonabel zero, whether peak or off-peak, it means they are in darkness. It has both economic and security implications, as well as even strategic implications. Let's take the strategic implication first. If I were Burkinabe, or was in the leadership of Burkinabe, one I would say supply from Ghana is unreliable. Why don't you look for alternate sources? And the alternate sources could be building more dams, mini dams in Burkina. Remember, the Volta takes a source outside Ghana.
Right.
So if they begin to build more dams,
it will affect
our generation. So we must always have that in mind.
But, Doctor, is that what is happening now, that we are curtailing power to our neighboring countries?
We did. We are curtailing.
So therefore, the present directive is now in force.
Well, the interesting thing is that the Ministry of Energy says on record it has not received that directive. VRA, obviously an agency under the ministry, says it has not. However, there are some other claims in the public domain that such a directive was issued.
Right.
And yesterday, as I stated, the export to a particular country was zero at a certain period, which means whether by default or by design, that a directive is being implemented.
Meanwhile, the irregular payment of power purchased by the Electricity Company of Ghana to the Bui Power Authority is threatening the continuous operations of Bui. Here's again Dr. Kwabena Donko.
There was an overdrafting of Bui late last year to now. So Bui's generation has to slow down, and it's slowing down. Because if it doesn't slow down, then the reservoir will run out. So Bui's contribution now in terms of quantum is going down. But Bui has a challenge. ECG is Bui's only off-taker. And when ECG is unable to pay, in fact, there have been months when Bui has had to take a bank overdraft to pay salaries.
Because ECG was unable to pay them.
Pay them. Or they are paying them less than 40% of their invoice prices.
Former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donko there interacting with my colleague Elton Brobe on The Pulse, which is live on the Joy News channel every day at 3 p.m. Also on all our social media platforms. Let's focus on health now, shall we? Because Ghana faces a potential health crisis after the Global Fund suspended shipment of essential medical supplies due to delays in clearing previous donations stuck at the Tema port. Well, this suspension includes urgently needing antiretroviral drugs for HIV/AIDS patients. The delays in clearing these medical supplies by the fund and to Ghana last year have also raised alarms within the Ghana AIDS Commission and the coalition of civil society organizations, CSOs, focusing on HIV, tuberculosis and malaria. The Ghana Revenue Authority is demanding $3.6 million in taxes before these goods will be cleared. In response to the prolonged detention of essential medical supplies, the CSOs have announced plans for a protest scheduled for April 17. We can hear from the spokesperson for the CSOs, Ernest Amwabi.
We are aware that antiretrovirals in the country will be running out next month, and that is going to be a very serious public health emergency because persons on HIV treatment will not have access to medication. And when that happens, even when the drugs are reintroduced, these persons are going to develop a resistance against the previous medications that they were taking. And then they will have to be put on second-line medication, which is even more expensive. So we feel that we come to the point where governments must act on this matter.
And this is clearly a matter that should be resolved between the Ministry of Finance and maybe GRA. I don't know whether you've probed into this aspect and what vibe are you getting? Because clearly somebody must write to GRA and say that let these goods be cleared.
And the GRA was saying that the Parliament of Ghana failed to make some waivers. So it meant that Global Fund needed to pay for those levels. So instead of the original $400,000 that the Global Fund made available, government was asking for $3.6 million before the goods could be cleared.
These are drugs meant for the government of Ghana, isn't it?
Exactly so.
And the same government of Ghana is frustrating the clearing of these goods.
That is a mystery.
Ernest Amwabi-Otsing is spokesperson for the CSOs. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, is digging more and joins us on the line. So we are learning that the Global Fund is taking a decision to suspend supply to Ghana. Tell us more, Fred.
Well, Emefa, considering that the efficacy of the drugs that have already been supplied to Ghana and shipped currently locked at the ports, there's concern about the efficacy of it, and therefore it will not be wise for the Global Fund to ship more and keep at the ports, because you realize that the current one we have has stayed at the ports for 1 year, and no one knows how patients will react once they take them. And so they are hoping to get government to clear this first before they continue with any further shipments. You remember that last month there was a delegation from the Global Fund to try and convince government to move the goods out of the port and begin supplying to the health facilities. Unfortunately, that did not yield any agreement, and therefore the Global Fund went away, even though they had proposed to pay more than 400,000 of that amount, so government takes the other part. There was no agreement, and therefore the goods remain there. The only information we are getting now, Emefa, is that the Ghana Revenue Authority is stepping in, and the earlier they step in, the better it will be for all of us, because any time beyond this could leave the drugs expired.
But how about government circles? What are they telling you in terms of information on this particular issue?
Well, government has been really tight-lipped on this matter. The only information you're getting is from the NGOs, persons living with HIV, and the Global Fund.
That's Joy News editor and head of our health desk, Fred Smith. Let me take you to the court now. We're learning that the High Court has granted expedited hearing in case seeking to compel President Akufo-Addo to accept anti-LGBTQ bill for possible assent. And member of our legal affairs desk, Kweku Asante, joins us on the line with more on this, but also the head of our legal affairs desk, Richard Kojo-Nyarko, has also been monitoring events in the court, a number of things happening today. We'll get to this particular High Court ruling when Kweku joins us, but you're also picking some information on the Funny Face case?
Exactly. So we went to the Kaswa Akweli District Court where Funny Face, comedian Funny Face was put before the court. It was an in-camera hearing, and so we are told that he's been granted a bill to the sum of 120,000 Ghana cedis. But we are also told by police prosecutors that 4 of the victims in that particular accident, they are responding to treatment, and so they've been discharged. But the other one is also currently recuperating at the hospital.
Okay. And you've been picking some information on this whilst we wait for Kweku to join us, the High Court granting this expedited hearing. So
we know that the case filed by Richard Delaskai, and then there is also one that is currently pending before the court, the Amanda Odoi case, relating to the anti-gay bill. And so now they filed for application for abridgment of time for the hearing to be brought closer. And so the court today granted that application, and so now the case is going to be expedited. Okay, welcome back from your long break. That's Richard Kojo-Nyarko, head of our legal affairs desk, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. The Midday News is made possible by Petrol Sol. Your clean fuel in full quantity Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator, and where Duraplus goes, water always flows. We'll return from the break with sports, and I'll take you to the Medina Highway for today's filth exhibition, where we found that the median of the roads used as transit points for waste collectors.
The rubbish is not from the Togo people, it's not from Burkina Faso, it's not from Cote d'Ivoire, it's from the Ghanaians. So we will talk. We are in the same problem.
Let's do sports now. Mubarak.
Yes, Emefa. So the All Regional Games has been officially announced, with the maiden event slated for November this year. Now, the championship, which involves several disciplines, including football, athletics, and boxing, aims to revive grassroots sports across the 16 regions. Now, former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan, who serves as an ambassador for the event, is confident the initiative will help Ghana excel at major tournaments.
This is the beginning. This is the first edition of the All Regional Games. So I can assure everybody in Ghana that let's make this successful. Let's make All Regional Games a successful one. Let's make it an institute. Let's make it something that our next generation will benefit from. Because we're not looking upon football. Football is the number 1 sport in Ghana, no doubt.
So yeah, that's former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. Now it's time for our filth exhibition today. Hannah Dami took a quick drive on the Medina stretch, and it appears that the median of that road has now become a point of collection for waste collectors. She has more in this report.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the number of heaps of rubbish on display in between the highways on the Medina Zongo stretch at the La in Kwantanan district in the national capital. Pedestrians call this an eyesore, especially for a city which yearns to be the cleanest in Africa.
It's very, 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 very abhorrent. You are sitting here staring, and after that you go and put garbage here. It's not nice.
Those who make, gather and dump the rubbish in between the roads say it is the assembly which has not been responsible in collecting the rubbish.
The waste collectors don't come to pick the rubbish, and so this place is always filthy and smelling. The entire stretch is filled with rubbish. Why? This leads to cholera and malaria. Government should pay the collectors so they can do their work. I dare ask, is this the country we say will be the cleanest in Africa soon?
Fed up with a constant spectacle of rubbish littered all over the stretch, this regular user of the road proposes a solution.
You see, the rubbish is not from the Togo people, it's not from Burkina Faso, it's not from Cote d'Ivoire, it's from the Ghanaians. So this one, I don't put blame on the Zoom Lion, because the Zoom Lion, now no place they're supposed to put the dustbins. So they will tell the people, you put it on the middle of the road, so after another day they will come and pick it. So we will talk. We are in the same problem.
From Medina here in Accra, I am Hannah Wadami for Joy News.
And that's our filth exhibition for today. Let me take you to the head office of the Electoral Commission now. And if it looks like a date has been set for the Idrisu by-election, my colleague Samuel Imbura is there for us, joins us on the line. Samuel, what do we know?
Emefa, I can say that the meeting is still underway, but I can authoritatively state that the Electoral Commission has proposed the 30th of April for the conduct of the Idrisu by-election. This and other issues are on the banner before the committee, including the alleged missing BVDs as alleged by the minority and issues surrounding the upcoming limited voters registration exercise.
That's my colleague Samuel Imbura there giving us updates of that meeting at the Electoral Commission. Now, Henry Amponsa, popularly known as Nana Fitz, the man seen in a viral leaked intimate video with media personality Sewami here, remains a wanted man as police say he's on the run following distribution of the video. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
According to court documents, someone had first called the journalist's makeup artist demanding she informs her to pay a sum of 5,000 Ghana cedis or risk having some nude pictures shared publicly. The number on which the mobile money transaction was made was registered in the name of the first accused, Adam Xavier Ketty. According to court documents, despite the initial payment, Sewa Mihia received a second threat from an unknown number that demanded an amount of 20,000 Ghana cedis. However, the accused person still published the video after they received the money requested. The court documents further states that Sewa Mihia reported the case to the police, and the first accused he was arrested at his hideout at Jolu. During investigations, he allegedly admitted to having used his Ghana card to register the said mobile money account number and handed it to the second accused, 31-year-old trader Candle of Kwachua Bebiu, before it was handed to the third accused, Henry Amponsa. The three face 4 counts of charges related to sexual extortion and intentional distribution of an intimate visual recording.
Maxwell Agbagba's report and MNJ, they are here in the studios. What are people talking about?
Social media is talking about Sewa and Henry Fitz. That's dominated the trend since last week. This one here from Conscious Kidus. He says government delays in clearing essential medicine which they got free of charge from the port. But let's discuss Henry Fitz and Sewa Amihie. And Anise Sabulai says this Henry Fitz versus Sewa Amihie thing is going to turn so ugly. Ghana,
Well, so other things are also trending. Eclipse 2024 is trending. People have been sharing how they felt. And also, one of Ghana's popular young dancers, Afronita, is trending after an interview on Hit FM. You know, she officially launched her KIT dance school. And also, she said that, she said something interesting, that boys are not approaching her. Why? Because they think she's not on their level. So social media, they are just roasting her left, right, center.
Now she's playing the Champions League and the boys are playing which league?
Maybe the local Premier League. That's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more definitely when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Great Coast load management request now, an irritating routine ECG. That's and more on myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good afternoon.
Joy 99.7 FM, radio for the discerning listener.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket?